All right, here we go. Another episode of the Family Movie Time podcast. Happy Halloween, everybody. We got a special treat. The Batman movie from 1966, starring Adam West and Burt Ward, and a slew of villains. And my special guest today, we have Nick, Brian, Andre, and myself, Jeff, and we're going to get right into it. I feel a little bit overwhelmed because Andre and Nick, you are probably the Batman specialists and the comic book aficionados. I have not read probably as many Batman comics. However, I did read here and there as a kid, and I would say Batman was probably my favorite superhero growing up. So I have a little bit of experience with that. Brian, I'm not sure about where you are with your Batman history or how deep you are into the comics, but we can get into that too.
Sure.
For the 1966 Batman movie, there was a neighbor lived right next to me. They had a copy of the movie, and I had never seen the movie. One day I was hanging out at their
Had you ever
house,
seen the
and
show? Had you ever seen the show before? I know it was probably off the air at the
clips
time.
of it.
Just clips. Yeah.
I think there was a channel. I don't know. I
It
forget the
ended in the
channel's name.
60s.
I saw clips of the show, but I don't remember really dedicating a lot of time to the show. My neighbor had the movie, so when they showed me the movie, I was like, wow, like this is so much fun. And I think for me, the campiness of it and the comedy, it made me want to watch it again and again. So whenever I'd be at their house, I'd be like, can we watch the Batman movie again?
Did you
And they were
actually
like,
wait? Did you
sure.
actually did you take it? How old were you when you saw it for the first time? Did you take it seriously, or did you realize that it's supposed to be fun? 'Cause I was a
I
kid when I saw it, and I was like, "This
Yeah,
is real life. This
it
guy,
was
like,
fun.
shark,
It was
just started
funny.
biting his leg. This poor man just dressed as a bat, trying to do his thing in the
It
city.
was it was the
Yeah,
comedy. The
it's hilarious.
comedy,
Yeah.
yeah, the comedy I think was the best part. And just it had a very like the colors of the costumes and the art direction, the production design. I think that was all very alluring and just made it fun to rewatch. The Dutch angles, and I don't know, it was just quite a spectacle at a young age. Probably I saw it at middle school age, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember it played because I used to live. So Brian and Nick, you guys don't know this, but I used to live overseas when I was a kid. I grew up in military brat, so I used to live in Japan.
Oh,
And
nice.
so attached to Japan and also in Germany, they would have at night on the Star Channel, they would play all these older shows. So the original Batman show, I would watch the episodes that my dad grew up watching. So it's like to me, like that was like every day, yeah, it was always two episodes at the end of the week. So you and then Batman and Robin would be I don't know like tied up to like a big magnifying glass, and the villain's like we're gonna fry, let you fly or whatever, and you have to figure
Oh,
out
Catwoman. I think
the
that.
whole day you just want
Fine.
to figure out how he's gonna get out of it, and it's always some ridiculous answer. But as a kid, you just kind of bought it. But then as I got a little older, especially around middle school and teenage years, when I started actually really reading the comics, because I remember when the Batman, the Michael Keaton one came out, like that was like a startling thing. Like it scared me because I had never seen Batman was always just the corny zap pow guy. The next thing I know, like Michael Keaton's messing people up. I almost said another word, Jeff, but I caught myself. But it was just like how it just got really darker, and then like I didn't know that like especially when I started working at a comic store and I talked to people. Michael Uslan, who executive produces all the movies, he was like always. I've been trying to tell people to take it seriously, but back in the '60s when everything was like the irony was the big thing. It was all about that kind of Andy Warhol-esque kind of we're making fun of what's popular. Come on, guys, this is camp. This is great, that kind of thing. And it was really funny, but it really, really pissed off a huge, huge selection of the people who grew up with it. And now when you look at Batman now, it's like, everyone who's like been in like a Batman kind of movie gets nominated. Like People who played the Joker have won 3 Oscars. Or been nominated, or they're all Oscar winners. You have like people, they're like it's an allegory for our times, and it's kind of funny to kind of go back and look at this one from the '60s, right on the cusp of like when like Vietnam is going on and all this, and it does have like a peaceful message at the end. But it's weird that when people think of Batman now, they think of like this dystopian, like Gotham sucks. And I'm just this rich guy who has nothing better to do but just spend all my money dressing as a bat and just beating up mentally ill people.
Which I think is
Yeah, and that's
that's
a
a
huge
little
contrast.
wrong there.
Yeah,
Is
it's like a
it
huge contrast to like the other.
Gotham's very corrupt, and
Yeah,
obviously this we're talking about the more modern idea. Gotham's corrupt. It's not just he's going beating up mentally ill people. When you got one mentally ill person who's trying to gas a city with either fear toxin or with Joker gas or whatever. So yeah, that's but no, I mean, I don't know about Brian, but Brian and I were about the same age. So I feel like we would have grown up in the era where we had Keaton. I was we were 1 years old when that movie
yes,
came out. So we grew up with Keaton and then Batman the Animated Series, which Jeff talked
yeah,
about, which is excellent Batman animated series. But then
fantastic.
on FX, we had the reruns of the 60s Batman. So I'm just like it's almost like a platter of Batman to consume, and that's how I started in with the 60s Batman. It was all, like just all this Batman right here, all this Batman, well, what we call content now, and I was able to sample it all, even Super Friends on Cartoon Network.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Oh God, it's so corny. I love
Yeah,
it.
but the 60s movie, we actually rented from Blockbuster. And I remember there was a sticker. I don't know if you guys remember. There were stickers on there like, if you take this off, it'll be you have to pay a fine and it's yours. I was tempted to, but my brother actually stopped me. He's like, "No, you shouldn't do that." I was like, you're right, you're right." But then I just,
I love the idea. I love the irony that they're having Batman tempt you to commit a crime.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But
Andre, could you summarize the plot of the movie, the 1966 movie?
okay, so the top four enemies of the Batman and Robin, they've teamed forces to um they've been making luxury ships disappear with some new device that the dynamic duo have to figure out. Meanwhile, Bruce, he's I guess he's just really feeling lonely because now he's attracted to this mysterious um, uh, uh, European woman whose name is Kitty Kipka, and she happens to look a lot like Catwoman. And it's like they have to figure out. They realize that these four diabolical villains who spend the whole movie on a penguin-shaped toy submarine in the ocean are trying to reduce the if they want to reduce they have a dehydrating machine that turns people into sand and they want to use it in order to threaten the united world, aka the UN, so they can get their ransom out. uh and They're defeated by Batman and them at the end, but then the movie gets deep at that point. Like there's like a moment where Robin like realizes that this one group of people that turned into sand, they can't be brought back. So he had to actually acknowledge death. So the movie, it's like a mixture of like a distrust in global politics. It's like it really just out of nowhere just rips into the UN in the last act. And they don't even and then the UN representatives, all these characters of people from different countries and different races, they just all they do is argue. Even when they get turned into dust and they come back, they just don't stop fighting. And then Batman's like, maybe this room is the greatest thing. Like it's a melting pot. Everyone should be able to listen to each other. Let's go, Robin. He has like a line where he goes like, but let's do it inconspicuously. We'll go out the window with our bat robes, which is a really funny button for the end of the movie. That's literally the end of the movie. And the movie has the end with a question mark on it because they were like, is it the end? Yeah.
This is the only originally up until like DVDs that this was the only Batman Adam West thing that was on VHS at the for
Yeah,
years
just the movie.
it was just the movie. You can watch the show until I don't know if you guys know when the DVDs
Yeah,
came out or
2014. I remember this because, yeah, like Fox and WB finally came up with a deal to where, okay, yeah, they could be on home video. And of course, as soon as the price got, really low, or at least,
Yeah,
for a
you
show,
bought them.
I have the 60 show. I
yeah, they were the
have the
deluxes.
Blu-ray as
Yeah,
well. I have both of them on Blu-ray.
and they were like $80 or something. They used to work at a retail store where they had them. They were like all season. Yeah, and you couldn't even get the music in them because they didn't get the rights settled for that. I just remember the reruns playing on like on the Star Channel, and I thought they played it for a bit on Nick at Night back in the day because
No,
I'm older than you
yeah.
guys.
I remember
But
when they were on, I was watching them for sure. TV Land, Nick at Night, and they would also play it with the 1950s Adventures of Superman with George Reeves.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and
Now,
they do like Dragnet and stuff, and like my parents would be like, "Oh, this is a real good. You got to watch this." I mean, it's like even as a kid, it was corny, but it was but it was kind of cool just to see like, yeah, that's what people were into. The cool thing about like the '60s
oh, wow.
Batman thing was like Adam West, and it was like the three Bs. It was known in the '60s. It was the Beatles, Bond, and Batman. They were like they printed gold for that because that series and the movie all came out in like a 3 or 4 span year,
Yeah,
and it was just kind of like it was hot for like a big, obviously like a huge pop cultural element because everyone knows anyone who makes fun of that show, even if you've never seen it, you know exactly what like when you punch somebody and it says pow and the guy like leaps across the room or whatever, and then holy this Batman or whatever, like everyone goes like, oh, that's they rip it to pieces in The Simpsons and even on the Batman animated series, that one episode that was a really sweet episode
Oh, the great
where Bruce meets the guy who played like a corny superhero in a TV show. That was really beautiful.
Adam West
Yeah,
killed that role in that episode. Like, go back and watch that. Of course, watch it at night with the lights turned off. That's the only way to watch Batman the animated series. I'm saying it right
no, 100%. Yeah, yeah.
Watch that episode.
And turn up the volume so you can hear that music and all the it just gets you. They had a whole orchestra on that one.
But yeah, they even pay homage to the 60s Batman with the onomatopoeia with the pow bam biff in the Lego Batman movie at the very end, and also with the shark repellent in the that we're gonna
Yeah,
see.
that's right. Yeah.
And I love the Lego Batman movie. That's such a
Like,
fun tribute to the characters.
oh, you might have
Robin, give
realized
me the shark repellent. Give it to me. Get
the
the
new
goes on.
Batman with Matt Reeves. Um, I just read that he had actually gotten the idea to do the four villains from this. I thought that's like such a fun way to reference this film is like, he took, the Penguin, Catwoman, the Joker, and the Riddler and put them all together
Yeah,
in
he did.
Batman
They are all in there too.
in a much
I think.
darker and messed up way.
Oh, super dark, very dark, like literally dark. You had to squint to see anything in that movie. But yeah, but it was really.
Yeah.
But um, I think another reference that Nolan did it in The Dark Knight Rises, where at the very end of the movie, it's Batman and his flying bat thing, and he's trying to find a place to drop a bomb, which is literally a scene.
I
Yeah,
want to ask Nick, like, what drew you to Batman versus other superheroes as a kid? Like, why did you pay more attention to Batman?
Oh wow. That's a very good question. I mean, because honestly, I mean, I loved the Ninja Turtles back then. I still do now, but it's just like, I don't know, Batman, I guess it's the action, the adventure, the martial arts, the fighting and all of that stuff. And like I said, I grew up watching it. I'm guessing that the Keaton Batman was burned into my brain at like 2 years old when it was on HBO because my first action figure was of that. Then it's like, okay, I love Batman, had a Batman t-shirt, then the animated series is on. So I see more of this character, and obviously, you start to just absorb all of this. And I mean, I could easily say why nowadays, but I guess as a kid, it's just seeing so much of this character who was like one of the coolest fictional characters ever. My favorite fictional character. Um, yeah, that's probably the best I can give you for because, like I said, I pretty much grew up with this character.
No matter what, at the end of the day, it's like a guy dressed as a bat and just goes out. But it's like a different. It's always interesting that when you have a character that can actually like jump into those different dynamics. That I can easily like even growing up, like seeing Michael Keaton as Batman and going like, okay, he's Batman here, but also Adam West is this kind of other Batman who runs around in the daylight and
Mhm.
it like with Robin.
It's
You
true.
know, they're like it's a different world. They go down the flagpole and their costumes are on by the time they get there. You know,
Yeah.
that kind of
Plus,
Uh,
and they have like the fake. There's a scene in this movie where they get it's right after they just watched it's not the UN, what they call them like United World people or whatever in that conference room. And so they turn it, they're dehydrated, so they turn into sand. And then there's a moment where like someone spills it. So it just cuts to Batman and Robin in the Batcave and they're wearing now they're scientists all of a sudden. Like, you know, they have like they're like looking at magnifying glasses and little like chemical things, but they're wearing lab coats and a doctor's outfit underneath the cape. So that means they took off their clothes, put on the cape, and then just put on like all of it over. It was like completely unnecessary for
had,
them.
they had gloves
Yeah,
on over their gloves too.
yeah,
That's
yeah. It was so
the,
silly.
the little
It's so
surgical
funny.
masks over. Well, obviously Robin only has like the domino mask, but Batman has like the cowl on plus
Yeah,
the
yeah,
surgical mask on, and
yeah. And it's
uh,
just like you can tell it's like hitting his like throat, and it's just like this. It's not even like a comfortable cape thing. It's like you can't flow with it. It's like made out of cardboard or something. It doesn't. It's like really rigid, and he
yeah,
plus
just
this
looks
is
like
like
he fights crime. This is the world's greatest
the
detective.
most like
Cali, Gotham City, I think I've ever seen in any of the films.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
So,
like every like
film. I feel like tries to treat Gotham as a character, but in this one, it's like, oh, let's just make this California.
yeah,
You know,
pretty much. They're like,
the
look in the deep
marina.
city, and it's like just the same shots of like a block of buildings. They're like, oh, well, really, I have a lot going on in this city here. I'm like, that's not a
like
big.
the
It's not at all.
backlot.
Yeah.
I actually went to whenever I was on the WB tour a couple of years ago. I actually saw like stopped at where they have like in the show at least where they would always pull up. The Batmobile always pulls up to Gotham City headquarters or
Oh
whatever where
yeah, and they hop out. Yeah,
the were.
that's right.
So I took a picture out front of that, and also sorry to brag, but years ago, this is 2011. I actually met Adam West at a convention in Pittsburgh, my hometown. I was
Okay.
nervous because I grew up watching the reruns and the DVD and VHS of the movie, and then but he was a really cool guy. Like that's one
Oh,
of the
was it? You got to meet him.
I
Hey
was
man,
so
there's nothing to apologize about that. That's fantastic. That's
yeah.
cool. You got to meet Adam West.
But not like I would say Batman comic wise, my first Batman comic was actually the Batman Returns adaptation. Then we had the Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, but then
Yeah.
you pick up a few things here or there. But I really started to click in. This was after the first X-Men came out. I started picking up some X-Men, and I was like, wait a minute, I love Batman. Batman's always been my guy. So I mean, I think it was maybe Batman number 600 or Detective Comics number 600 or something like that. One of those, we're talking about the early 2000s. That's when I started reading them. And then in high school at a comic book store, a hop, skip, and a jump. So, I mean, whenever I had enough money, I would be just going over there, just picking up all kinds of Batman and Superman and all these cats. So,
Your take on the comics and how how Batman came into your life.
Yeah, is audio okay?
if I like kind of shout a little bit. Oh,
All right.
Sounds good on my end. Sounds good.
Yeah, yeah, grew up a '90s kid. Loved the Burton films. Loved the Schumacher films. Dressed up like Tommy Lee Jones Two Face for Christmas for some reason. Back like when you know um, you can just dress up like a superhero and nobody says anything. Um, but yeah, I'm still a fan. I mean, I'm still a fan of all the films, and I usually will go with them with this guy here, Nick Young. Um, but in terms of Adam West, I don't know if I was watching when I was a little kid or I was probably watching the animated series more. And then as I got older, I started becoming more curious of I want to see this character more, but I've seen the movies all 100 times. Let me, try some Adam West, and I think that's what got my curiosity was just to see Batman in a different light, and certainly more lighthearted, comedic way. And it's just so interesting now, even watching it again. It's like this is the only Batman movie we have before the Burton verse, and it just goes to show how much he kind of changed the DNA of the character after. But before that, this was Adam West, and things in this movie are not quite as good as the Christopher Nolan ones, especially like when he's fist fighting the pirates, and you could just like kind of see them throwing themselves through the
Oh, they're
table.
all just like not. Yeah, it's
It was
like
just
yeah,
like a
it's
wide shot.
yeah,
Like,
like you better
it's
land over there. And they're
yeah,
like burning film too. They're like if you
just keep
act up,
going.
if you mess up, we're just gonna keep it rolling. We're not gonna do another two.
Is
So
there
you
a
see
reason
like
why?
yeah,
Is there a reason why they didn't make more of the 1960s Batman movies? Does anybody know?
it didn't do that well.
Ah,
Yeah,
Yeah,
why
I
did
mean
the
the show
popularity go
was
down?
the
Well,
show was really huge and it was the most popular show. The way like fads are popular, the way like it's like just kind of like people were into it for a hot season or two because it's only like 3 seasons or something. And then they were just like, okay, because you don't just like adapt it and make a movie out of this unless you really, really think you're gonna make a return. Like the studio is not gonna. And this is before like Warner Brothers, before Peter Guber and John Peters came in and like got the rights from Michael Uslan and did like how Warner Brothers now has it. So they were just like, yo, we we can smell when the tide is turning. So let's just do a movie. And when you watch it, like the movie is flat out from the get go, just like, nah, we're kidding around. This is just deliberately silly.
There's
And
no
and, and it's
conflict.
it's hilarious. I think it's
Yeah.
really funny, but it's
Well, everyone
different
loves
where it's
Batman.
like
Yeah.
adults can get the irony and the camp and all that, but kids just think it's like they're just like, oh my god, how is Batman and Robin going to get out of this? Man, that looks fun to be Batman. You know what I mean? It's good
Well,
for kids.
yeah.
It's good
Everyone
for
is like
Everyone is like on Batman's side in this, which
more recent films, like he always had Commissioner Gordon, but like the other cops would kind of be suspicious of him, or there'd be like some conflict. This one, everyone's just like, "Hey, Batman!" Like he's
oh
like walking down the
100%. They
street,
don't do
like,
their jobs.
"Hi."
They don't do like Commissioner Gordon doesn't do his job. None of the cops do their job. They're like the guy dressed as a bat will just show up and he'll take care of it.
they
Like they don't
literally
do
say
anything.
that in episodes. They're like, "Oh, well, we rely too much on Batman." Then they're like, "But we still need him," and
Yeah.
they use the bat phone and stuff because
They're
obviously
like,
you're not
no.
gonna shine the bat
Yeah.
signal during the day.
Yeah, they don't tap it. They don't tap the bat phone or anything. They just like, nah. They're like, it's my job has been a lot easier since this weirdo showed up. All I have to do is just call him, and he just shows up and fights all the crime. The guys the crimes are like so bad. It's like, oh yeah, there's a guy, a penguin. He has an umbrella. And he just shoots stuff with it. I can't deal with this. Let me call. Let
I
me
looked
call.
at
I'm gonna use the bat phone. And this
I
guy,
looked at
this
some of the
weirdo,
episodes of like the first season, the first probably 3 episodes from the first season of the 1960s
yeah,
TV show, and they were a trip. I do remember the one with the umbrellas in the bank and penguins giving out
yeah,
free
yeah.
umbrellas to everybody out in front of the bank. And they go in the bank, they open the umbrellas, then all this smoke and stuff comes out, which becomes a decoy for Penguin, robbing the bank basically.
No, it's a campy show. And it flat out said it. It's like a really silly show. It's like, yo, this is hilarious.
Thank you. Do we want to move
Yeah.
into favorite scenes? I can pull up the movie and cue the scene. Does anybody want to
Play a
mention?
scene. Play a scene. I'll be right back.
Yeah, Nick, do you want to go first? One of your favorite scenes? Do you know the time code where it is in the movie? I can pull up the film.
Uh, I think realistically, well, one of my favorite scenes. You have to go with the classic, the shark, the shark repellent bat spray. That is such a fun part. He's just punching this fake shark. And you're like, it's clearly not drawing any blood, but he's just boom, boom, boom. It's hilarious. I love it. I mean, I love the entire movie. I love the opening credits, especially with the whole acknowledgement of the lovers of this, that. But it's just this right here. It's just like it starts with a bang, kind of, pretty much.
That's a great scene. You know, it's funny. The opening credits almost kind of remind me of the Dick Tracy movie a little bit, like with the colors, the
Yes.
colors. Um, and then I'm just so used to the waiting for Danny Elfman's Batman March to come on, and so it's so like you hear like a different Batman song. Obviously, it has the iconic Batman at the end, but no Danny Elfman in this one, obviously.
Yeah, well, I mean, heck, not even Christopher Nolan's had the Danny Elfman theme, but I mean, if you need the Danny Elfman, go watch The Flash or the 2017 Justice League, but
Yeah, that's right. They flat out used it. They just used it in the movie. I was like, that's the Danny Elfman thing.
Brian, though,
Yeah.
you said something, Brian, just now. The Dick Tracy movie. Do you think they borrowed from this movie to make the Dick Tracy live action film?
I have to look it up. I'm a big fan of it. I saw it about a year ago when they were bringing Prince around, and it's such an underrated film. But I don't know. I don't know if there's a connection there.
Oh wait,
Obviously, they're both comics.
with this movie?
The opening credits, I was just saying, kind of had it just reminded me of Dick Tracy a little bit. I know
The
they're
Warren
both
Beatty one or the actual series from
Warren
back
Beatty
in the
one.
Warren
Okay,
Beatty.
but that one, oh, because the Warren Beatty one came out in the early 90s because he was with
Right.
Madonna at the time.
Oh yeah,
So
way
that's yeah, so that's like years after the. So I think if anything, Warren Beatty was like, well, I guess that's what comic book shark on
yeah.
that. It's like, I mean, you know what, that movie. I mean, it's not. You know what? I admire it because of it was a very original vision, but it's a pretty boring movie. But it's gorgeous to look at. Dick Tracy, I'm talking about, and it also has
Yeah.
like a great performance by Al Pacino. I think it's like one of his. I think he was nominated for it. Like he was terrific in it.
let's see, he's got
But
all
it's just yeah,
talent. I
it's kind of
love
like an odd movie.
What was
So
that name?
he's like hitting this thing. Like Adam West is like, all right, so we're just gonna project this image right before it. You know, that's not them right there. They're like, we shot that somewhere else.
Is he
It's so
like
silly.
holding the shark up with his leg on the
Yeah,
ladder too?
he's just like holding it up, and he's like,
It
yeah.
up?
He's like, ugh, man, and like Robin, give it to me. Let me spray the shark, and it blows up. I just
Robin,
knew there's a scene later that I thought was really funny where they're strapped to the like the magnets are keeping them in the middle of the ocean, and so the penguin launches missiles at them, and then it just cuts to them just riding away in a motor like in a boat with a rear projection behind them, and then Robin says something like, "I can't believe that porpoise just came out of nowhere and took the bomb for us," and Batman was like, It gave his life to save our own," and I'm like, "No, it didn't." It's like this porpoise was just swimming. It just got bombed. And I was like the writers were like, how did we get him out of this? Uh Dolphin swims by. He just beat up a shark. So I guess there's dolphins in the ocean too. The big rubber shark too. No,
Andre,
he's like, what's up?
do you have a favorite scene I could skip to in the movie that we could rewatch? Is there a favorite scene of yours I could pull up?
Well, there's a bunch, but I think probably the favorite is because I wrote all these lines down, but I
Yeah,
forgot how funny it was.
sure.
It's not long after this scene. It's just when he goes it's when he goes to Commissioner Gordon's and after he calls the Pentagon and he's mad at the man for like flat out giving he's like yeah right like there's a line where Batman says like he goes like yeah because the guy has an office and behind him is a sign that says classified waste. And then, and so Batman just asks him over the bat phone, "Have you sold any surplus substances, and if so, to whom?" He goes, "Give me a second." He has to call up, and then he finally talks about that he sold nuclear devices to someone who with a PO box number, and he notices that Batman's mad at him.
Yeah, you could tell that
And he
he's
goes
like,
like,
"Oh
"Yeah,
my God, you really like
yeah, yeah."
Penguin,
Batman's
you
so
couldn't
mad at
figure this
him.
out." But then look at this right here, where okay, you got
That
this
whole
lady with the leopard print, and you don't figure that's Catwoman. Batwoman. You're the world's
So
greatest detective, but that's the fun of it. I just love this.
it's so funny. It's completely done with like the utmost seriousness, and it's just like Commissioner Gordon's so mad at this man. He's just like, yeah, he's like, yeah, like Batman just chastising this guy from the Pentagon, and the guy goes like, "You're rather grim, Batman. We haven't done anything foolish, have we?" And Batman just goes, "Disposing a pre-atomic submarine to the persons who don't even have their full addresses. Have a good day, Admiral." He just like, and he does it like, and he hangs up the phone. He's like, "Robin, we have to stop this." Holy yes, this and this and that. They're all doing it with a straight face while wearing tights. So yeah, it's just that scene really made me laugh. Obviously, I love the whole bomb sequence
Yeah.
with him running around, and it's like, especially when they cut to the ducks.
So you
And I
said
like, and I do like when it gets poignant at the end. At the end, when I mean, it's a little, it's definitely very cheesy, but I do like when like they bring back the like just the idea that they were kind of going like, this is a democracy. People don't have to agree with everything. And like it got deep out of nowhere.
Yeah.
This whole movie where they've been fighting plastic sharks and blowing them up with shark repellent, and the people are turning people into sand, and then just like the over the top performances, and it just has this moment to kind of say this kind of it like it had like it was very cynical. For a cynical movie, it had like a hopeful message at the end, which I admire. But easily my favorite scene is when Commissioner Gordon and the other chief, is it O'Hara, the guy, like when they're just getting mad at the guy at the Pentagon because he just sold nuclear weapons to someone because they had a PO box number and he didn't know who it
Right
was.
here.
is it
I
here?
thought it was really funny.
Yep.
Yeah. So to answer your question, those are my favorites.
Is this the beginning of it?
Okay, yeah, it's like that's the Pentagon guy. That's the Pentagon. Look at this set.
Some chap named
Well, I don't know if you hear it, but I have the scene memorized.
Same. I want that phone. I really like that bat.
That's fake.
I I don't care. We need to bring back cord phones, and they have to have the bat phone.
Just
And I
bring back a landline. Yeah, just
On your boat.
trip over me.
yeah,
There's so much water in this film.
They're like this might be like the most watery Batman movie, like the submarine, the pier,
Yeah, it's all like in the
the
ocean.
boat.
They're like, where can we shoot? They're like,
Yeah,
all
let's
right.
just go to the pier.
And then even like the ocean stuff, it's like you can tell there's like rear projection in certain parts. It's clearly a tank that they're filming.
Oh.
They were not out in the ocean, but then they got like beef footage of some bathtub with a fake penguin boat and like footage like this. It's just such a silly like come together kind of.
Wait, can we go to the big fight at the end with all the pirates? That one's pretty good too.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, you're like knocking each other off the boats and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it just goes on like way too
It's like
long.
it's like the action scene in the movie. There's not a lot of action in this movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, with that.
Yeah, there's them dressed up. that was so
Oh yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I like that the henchmen are pirates.
One at a time, each one.
yeah. But you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I actually, I will train to this exact track. Like I have a
Oh
Batman
yeah, that's your is it
train
training? Is your Rocky
train to this.
montage?
Kind of. I trained to this one first, then I go Keaton and Bale and so on and so forth. But nah, I don't care. I love this scene. You're not gonna get me to hate it. It's so fun.
No, it's hilarious. And no,
Flamboyant.
trust me, I used to work out to the Hans Zimmer score a lot. Oh yeah, yeah. Look at these stunt. My thing is like when you can tell it's just the stuntman. It's not the actor.
Oh, the
Like
Riddler's
that guy's a real stuntman. But like when you saw like Frank Gorshin get knocked off, I was like, he did not, dude.
yeah,
Yeah,
a full head of hair. He looks
yeah.
way younger.
It's like these are the top. These are the four villains. The one that they were so scared of, and then, like they just easily just kicking them around. They're all just jumping off the boat.
It reminds me of like a video game level, where you're just
Yeah,
like,
it's just like, you hit them. You get 2 points if you hit them.
If
To
only
me, it just looks like
they
they're just having a hot day and they just want to go into the ocean. That's the only reason I can explain them. Keep going on. It's
just
like Batman is not that fast.
there's supposed to be a video game called Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. If they have this fight scene as one of the levels, I will be over the moon.
Oh, you put back the pirates. Let's get the pirates. He saved the cat too. Oh, that'd be cool in the game if you have to like keep catching the cat because they keep like throwing it at that. He's like whooping their butts and he has to keep the cat. Okay. Oh, the penguin's like, I'm gonna get in this. I got my umbrella sword. Yep, yeah. That's not Cesar Romero at all. That was this stuff. They just keep falling in the water. They're like, that's it. I guess we don't know what to do. we should do 2 things.
What a sword fight with the penguin here.
Yeah, he's they're doing the same moves because that's it.
Just jumps. He says, "I'm done. I'm out."
It's
Belly flopped.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Her plop.
plot.
I don't care. It's silly, but God, it's so
No,
fun.
no, it's fun. No, you can tell they're having fun, and it's like it's a fun sequence. But it's funny to watch like that fight here, and then look at like the Batman versus Superman fight in the warehouse where Ben Affleck's like just like pretty much murders everybody in the room.
That's the best scene in that film.
That fight scene is the best Batman fight scene committed to film.
It's the best part in the movie. It's the best. It's easily one of the best. It's the best fight scene. It's the best Batman fight. But I remember seeing it. I saw the movie twice in the theater. I didn't even like it. I saw it a second time just to watch that fight scene again with an audience. I just wanted to, because the audience, like, literally, they're entering. They were just like, whoa. They're like, yo, don't mess with him. Yeah. He tore up that warehouse, and it was well done.
Absolutely. But here,
Jeff, do you have a favorite scene?
Yeah, Jeff, what's your favorite scene?
Well, I want to start with the opening because I find the opening to be just really funny, like the way the text like describing what you're gonna see, and then it's playful, just the way they're moving the spotlight and stuff on the wall.
Yeah.
I find
And they're
that
like
to be
lurking
really,
around it. They're like lurking around it and stuff. Yeah.
it's just really witty, like the wit, like we wish to express our gratitude to the enemies of crime, crusaders against crime throughout the world for their inspirational example.
Yeah.
Then again to the wall, to them, to lovers of adventure, lovers of pure escapism, lovers of unadulterated entertainment, lovers of the ridiculous and bizarre, to fun lovers everywhere, this picture is respectfully dedicated. And then again,
Yeah. No, yeah. It's also kind of like, I mean, that's just like, but
if we've
that kind
overlooked
of
any
humor,
sizable
come
groups,
on, that's like National Lampoon humor. That's like what hipsters in Brooklyn say. If you ever just hang out with them, it's like, it's just, I mean, it's funny, but it's just flat out, just pure dripping sarcasm. It's like, we get it. Like the movie starts and they're like, just so you know, we're in on the joke. We're kind of, I think if they, I mean, it was funny, but it was kind of like, if it had just started straight off, just like, they just treated it seriously. Kind of seems like they're asking for like, to get away with silly stuff. Like maybe that's just like a narrative crutch that I don't really particularly like. Hey,
No,
I'm just like, I'm gonna let you know I'm in on the joke before the movie starts.
Now, what's
Yeah.
interesting, I haven't seen like the whole TV series, but they didn't put all the villains from the TV series in this film. Like Mr. Freeze is not in this film.
No, he's not. Neither is King Tut or Egghead or anything. They got them more popular characters, and these are the characters that you keep seeing showing up in all these other Batman movies. Batman has a big rogues gallery, but there are characters where they're like people expect to see.
Yeah.
no matter
They expect to see them. Yeah, they want to see Joker. They want to see Catwoman. They want to see the Riddler, and they want to see even like hell, the Penguin is now like in that HBO show with Colin Farrell. He's like a tragic sociopath. It's like The Sopranos. And I'm like, that's the guy. That's the Penguin, the dude with the umbrellas. But they're like, nah, it's like a serious drama now.
Burgess Meredith.
Joker, the last 3 people who played him on the big screen, they've either won an Oscar playing them, or they're Oscar winners. Like now, it's like a prestigious bit to play the Joker on a big screen. You know,
Is the Joker kind of more popular than Batman at this point, like in the
yeah,
contemporary
one
landscape?
hundred percent. Yeah. The moment he shows up in something, or they hint at it, it's like it. There's just a collective excitement
Well,
that people want to dive into. Like,
well,
right?
think
I'm
about
not
it,
wrong, right? Yeah.
no,
People are more excited
think
about who's
about it
playing the
though.
villains as opposed
Yeah.
to the
Well,
Batman character.
well, if you think about it though, the Joker, any good Joker interpretation has to upstage any good Batman interpretation. If your Batman is better than your Joker, you failed. Your
Yeah.
Joker, because the Batman is a more reserved, stoic character, even in this movie. But the Joker is so free and wild, and he does whatever he wants, and he can get laughs, but then he can also scare you, and he could do all kinds of unpredictable things. So yeah, like to a degree, yeah, you're like Batman, yes, but then you hear Joker, that's a
Yeah.
name. It's like, oh wow. Just like if you were to say Batman, then you say Bane, then Bane, that's a name that carries weight.
Yeah. It's always kind of like with, especially with the Joker. It's just neat that he has this like, it's like people treat it like you're playing King Lear or something. You know what I mean? It's like he's now that character is in the pantheon of like, it's like a legit role. Like it's like a particular generation
Yeah,
will look at you that way. And it's
iconic.
like
Yeah,
when, like he used to just be, and whether you like, it used to be like when it was Cesar Romero in this movie, but then when Nicholson did it in '88, that was when it was like, yo. And I remember when they cast Heath Ledger for Dark Knight, people were like, fans were mad because they were like, who would dare walk in the shoes of Jack Nicholson? And then he, won the Oscar, and it's like one of the most defining performances that came out. Everyone saw that movie because that movie made all that money because everyone wanted to see Heath Ledger in that role. Like they were just like, I remember seeing the theater, like everyone was like, where is the joke?
Do you have a scene that I could cue up, a favorite scene from the movie of yours?
you guys are covering some good ones. I kind of
I wanted to talk about the dehydration machine at the
Yeah.
end where they used like the sand art to bring everyone back. We kind of talked about it already. You were mentioning Andre with the UN, but
I just thought it was hilarious. And then
when Lyndon B. Johnson gets a phone call from like they brought in the
Oh yeah,
president.
that's it.
um, that was just
It was
That's
just very like quirky and kind of endearing. It was just such a we will probably never get an ending like that again.
another Batman.
Movie. Um,
But I
I'll give you
enjoyed that.
that.
Yes,
I think
success. We've done it.
I think that is they tried. They were like, you know what, we tried
It's
the
like,
well, and
yeah,
we're good with that.
a little anticlimactic, but
in a charming way.
because Batman movies now,
They, I'm a huge fan of the Nolan films. I hope that the character stays grounded and we don't like lose him to like some CGI endless
Oh,
battle.
it's just I don't know. I just want Batman to stay kind of practical and real, and
yeah, like when he gets his butt whooped, when he's like bloody,
yeah,
like Alfred, and then like everyone loves the dynamic. Like, he comes back to the cave and he's like a mess. He looks like beaten meat, basically. Like he's like all bloody and like this, and then Alfred's just like, well, I put up a bath for you. Like he just has that attitude toward him. And, like there's that dynamic where like you kind of,
yeah,
yeah, it's almost like when like Bond with Q or something. There's like a familiar,
yeah,
like you're used to it. Everyone who knows Batman knows Alfred. They know who Dick Grayson is. They know Commissioner Gordon. They know the Joker. You know, it's kind of like it's a thing that we all know. But
yeah,
it's like it's taken on this mythic like thing with pop culture, and just the way, like, the fact that in like a handful of years we've had like three different actors on the big screen playing Batman, and then a young actor playing him on the small screen, and hell, in Gotham, and also another actor playing him in that Titan show. It's like, like he's like, he is that kind of, like, it's so neat that just like this comic book character, like this in the whole world that Gotham presents, is now, it's an interesting There's like
Right.
rich material that people are finding in these characters that are almost
Oh yeah, the
over
world is
80 years
great.
old at this point. Yeah.
I mean, the world is so big that
We have shows with Batman not even in the film or not even in the show.
Yeah,
even like
it's like
the
yeah, and then
WB did like
and
a
they'll like hint
Alfred
at it.
prequel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's and it just keeps going too. It's like a lot of the
yeah.
more successful comics that are currently running. Like
The
I don't know
world
if
is
you guys
great.
have been reading it. Like right now the big one is Scott Snyder's doing Absolute Batman. And that's just it's kind of a retelling of an origin and what he's done with these characters. That your familiarity with them is what's really, really, really what sells it. And it's really
Yeah,
cool how they do it. And it's also interesting how everyone has a different interpretation. Like we were talking about the Burton ones earlier, right? So look at it like so Jeff earlier you said like why would they use these four villains for the 66 movie? And like I said, these are the most popular characters at the time for Batman. But then look at the way people take them. Like when you look at watching that 66 Batman movie with seeing like Catwoman and Penguin in it, you would never even imagine the way that they would be turned into what Tim Burton and them did with Batman Returns. You know what I mean? Like that's a completely different 180. And they both work just fine for different reasons. I just think it's really neat that it's like you can just take this character that and you can just kind of extrapolate with it.
I
They,
love
you know,
how
they don't have the biggest backgrounds.
I love
The
how
Joker,
you
you can just make up anything you want to
talking
know.
different. They're all speaking each other's languages, but they're still yelling at each other. It's like the one dude is speaking Spanish when he should be speaking Nigerian, and the
Yeah,
American is
it's like
speaking
all over.
like I don't know some other French or something like that. And they're like one of the things that I loved about when they first get zapped by the Joker is that they're arguing, they're getting zapped, but they're still arguing. Like nobody thinks to go, wait a minute, who is this guy? Nothing. Like when they keep disappearing. None of
Yeah,
them stop and go, what? They're just still arguing until
yeah,
they're all
Greasy
just
Bird.
dust. It's hilarious. But then that has to be some kind of commentary on just how like these
Oh,
people.
100%. It's saying like your leaders aren't listening to you. They're not listening to each other. So how else are they going to lead? But then Batman says, he literally says at the end, he's like, maybe this is a good thing where people can not listen to each other, I guess. It's a really muddled message at the end of the movie. But
yeah.
that's what he
I mean,
says. He stops everything and he just and Adam, got to give credit to Adam West. He does like he's like, no, Robin. It's like he's chewing the scenery. But that was what it is. Like the movie like really stops and says like, oh yeah, I guess we should have a message. And then that's what he says. And it's really odd how it comes off considering how they didn't even it would make more sense for Batman to give a speech to them, for them to shut up and they can listen to him. But he's like, nah, they're not listening to us. So let's just go out the window with our bat ropes. And that was it. And they just went back to the mansion. It was like the whole day didn't exist. They were just like, all right, they're not sand anymore.
Is
It's not the
Batman,
best ending.
has he always been a millionaire from the beginning of the Bob Kane comics?
Yeah, because his parents were really rich. Yeah, and his dad is a doctor. Yeah, so he used to be a millionaire in the 40s, and he's a billionaire after like the 90s because millionaires aren't that impressive. So yeah, it's all like he's a trust fund. So when we like, so that's what makes his. I think it's what makes his character interesting because he doesn't have any reason. It's always funny because I'm like, so you are a multi-billionaire and you spend all your money making big cars and jets and submarines in bat shapes, and you could easily just pay. You could just give money to all the poor, like the people that you go and beat up. They're all just destitute and they're only committing crime because they just can't. It's expensive to live in Gotham, so Batman just beats them up. But it's kind of like no, but he's always been a rich dude, so it's always kind of he has that element where he's not quite in touch. He's like, I had to learn how to perfect myself. I had to learn all the different ways of the ninja, and I had to do all this and this and this and that and blah blah blah. And but he can afford it because he owns like different airlines and stuff, and he just flies out. It's like whatever.
Although I
Yeah,
will say this one thing, well, this and I say Dark Knight Rises, they had some kind of like the Wayne Foundation, which is in this, like I said, in this movie show. And in that, and then even in the animated series, he was actually trying to help. Like he was trying to help the people who, were the I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. They were kind of, living paycheck to paycheck, or they needed the help and stuff like that. Like there was this one episode of the animated series called Appointment in Crime Alley where they're about to just like this corrupt dude is gonna destroy the this area Park Road where his parents were shot, and
Yeah.
tries to,
Prime Alley. Prime
Batman.
Alley.
Thank you,
Yeah.
as Batman and Bruce Wayne. He's like, no, I can't let this happen. That's one of the better episodes. But yeah, he always had like the Wayne Foundation.
Good reference. Yeah.
Nah,
What
you
about
could
like
just
the main inspiration? Like, is it known where Bob Kane came up with the concept?
Well, Bob Kane originally, all right, so the story is that he knew that comic, I think he had to have been like 19 or 20 or something. And he was like, Superman was the big thing. And he wanted to do like he was like, well, Superman's from like the skies. He's an alien. But what if someone's from the streets? And so he kind of came up with an idea. Like he was one of those guys who was just like, just take an animal and put man at the end. So originally his concept for Batman was like a man with like a fedora and bat wings that kind of flew around. But the artist he was talking or like forced to work with, back then it was kind of interesting, like how they worked on that. But he was with Bill Finger, and Bill Finger was the one who came up with. He was like, no, it should be like maybe like an aristocratic guy who like lives at this, he's almost like Dracula. He lives in like this mansion at the top of the city, and he just goes out at night. And he's like he came up with like the concept of like the Joker and just this whole different idea. And then Bob Kane just, you know, slapped his name on it. And Bill Finger, I think, didn't even start getting credit for it until after he died.
Yeah, like 2016, like his first actual credit on anything was
Yeah.
with Batman versus Superman. And he was also the one who Bob Kane wanted to give Batman like a domino mask and a red costume with like wings, kind of like the Leonardo da Vinci, like those kind of.
It's gonna be something really
Bill Finger was like,
probably like something that funny
owl
enough,
with
it's like
gray.
something out of Grant Morrison then or some
Yeah, like Bill Finger deserved a lot of credit for that early creation of Batman, that because a lot of the stuff that was set in places, it still carries over even to this day. Now obviously certain things have changed
yeah.
with reboots and so on and so forth, and like stuff like Batman Year One, but it's pretty, it had been pretty steady since then. Like the fundamentals are still there to this day.
Well, those earlier ones, the cool things about them were the gothic concept. Like it was very like one of them he had to go fight a vampire cult and they had like a
Monk.
castle like stretched out trees and stuff. It was like a Hammer. Well, before Hammer existed.
Yep,
Like
there's a guy called the Monk. He actually shot him at the very end of that comic. I don't know if that was one of the last times that Batman was using guns, and then like somewhere like around the time Robin came into play, which was in 1940, it kind of eased back on him using guns like that until the point where.
yeah, he like flat out kills. Oh yeah, he kills the one dude. He shoots him. And he goes like, even though he didn't want to take a life, he knew that it was the only. And I was like, Batman's famous thing is that he doesn't kill. I was like, well, he killed in issue 3 of this comic.
What?
And they were just like, yeah, and they were just like, we don't talk about that. Even in Tim Burton movies, he was killing people left and right.
Oh
And
yeah.
The
threw
Ben Affleck
dynamite down
when he
his
was
throat.
killing people left and right, I was like, Batman doesn't kill people. It's pretty adamant. He's like, nah. He's like, I'll mess you up.
Yeah,
Oh,
He's like a billionaire who'll
paralyze
like
you.
break every bone in your body. And so now you clearly don't have health insurance. And now you're going to go to jail and you're going to be like maimed for the rest of your life because this billionaire dressed as a bat decided that he had enough of your riddles or whatever. It's like there's a lot of like, I can
although
understand where I
when
imagine like I would agree with a lot of people in Arkham Asylum when you hear them because they sit around, they're all there because of Batman.
Yeah,
You know,
but
they like talk smack about him like during lunch or whatever.
we have to
Oh,
collect all the Riddler trophies
yeah,
in the Batman Arkham
yeah.
game. We're gonna want to put the Riddler in traction as well. But here at least with the Frank Gorshin Riddler, by the way, Frank Gorshin from my hometown, Pittsburgh. So, anyways,
What's up?
yeah, with the Frank Gorshin Riddler, who's hilarious throughout the show and this movie, that laugh is like it's intoxicating. He's Cesar Romero. He has a good Joker laugh as well. I liked all the
Oh,
villains,
there.
of course, Burgess Meredith as the Penguin, classic, and of course, he would go on to be Mickey in the Rocky movies
Yeah,
and so
100%.
on.
Oh yeah.
And
With Cesar Romero, I like that they like these were like clearly paycheck gigs, but they did their own thing with them. Like Cesar Romero was he gave it like every time he performed as Joker, he gave it 200%. But it's like his only caveat was like, I'm not shaving off my
I
mustache.
was just gonna
That
say
was
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like the Riddler didn't ask too many riddles in this one. Like he did the thing in the sky with the airplane smoke, and but I was like
but
kind of
that but
waiting for him
and
to do more riddles.
those riddles didn't make any sense. What's the one that I couldn't believe it because I forgot how
There,
dumb
well,
this
there's
was.
in the beginning the way they find out that Kitka is a Russian is just hilarious. I wish I had the
oh,
quote, but it's like they figure it out in some way from like the Vegas clue.
the one of the, I think my favorite.
Yeah, that's right.
I think my
Yeah,
favorite riddle of his was Robin. They're in the Batcave. Robin's or Batman says, "What people are always in a hurry?" Robin goes, "Russian people."
Russians. Yeah.
Russians. I'm like, how do you
Yeah, the Russian.
come up with that? Like it's, and then he's like, "Banana Russian." Someone Russian.
Well,
It's gonna
Well,
slip
but
on a
well, there was
banana.
Banana
the one where
Project
it's like it happened in the sea. Sea.
Yeah.
C
Oh,
is for Catwoman,
woman.
but like, but then this is the one that got me because I had to write it down because I was like, come on. But it's a Batman's talking with Robin because they're looking at the riddles in the sky, and he goes, "What weighs 6 ounces, sits in a tree, and is very dangerous?" And Robin goes, "A sparrow with a machine gun." And that was the answer to the question. That's
Uh,
not even a riddle. That's not even. I don't even know what that was. But then he's like, "You're right, Robin." And then, and that's how they solve the crimes or whatever.
yeah.
It's just goofy.
Was it the
It's
apples?
just lazy. It's just lazy.
Egg,
Like,
and
they're like, I'm not gonna come up with a riddle. I'm just gonna say some messed up stuff. And then like, okay, a sparrow and a machine gun.
well, coming up with
And
riddles
what eats a sparrow? A
prevented the
cat.
Riddler
A cat.
being like so big on
Yeah.
Batman the animated series. They were like, we don't want to get into that trap. But the '60s Batman show is like, yeah, we'll bring the Riddler back whenever we can. It's just funny to me that the Riddler was harder to write for the animated series in the '90s than he was for in the '60s, I guess. Then they'd come up with any answer. They would pull out any answer out of their utility belts, and it was actually correct because they can never be wrong. It was that's part of the humor
Yeah.
and
With the animated series, the Riddler became the way they had him was that he worked at a major like conglomerate and he was like he created the puzzles for
the
like
riddle.
almost like a Microsoft kind of game, and he was screwed over. And then he was like, "Well, I'm smarter than everybody, and like I'm at the end of my rope." Like, my thing with the Riddler is that he needs to be. That's what I really liked in the Matt Reeves one, the one with then the more with Robert Pattinson and Paul Dano playing him. Like, he was like his whole thing is that he's so smart, but he just has to. But it's what always causes his downfall. But he likes when Batman defeats him because it makes him have to be stronger the next time. Like he's always like, I'm gonna outsmart you at this point. But with the Frank Gorshin one, there's nothing I never got the idea that he was some kind of genius. He kind of looks he's like a maniac running around in tights. That's and with covered in question marks.
Although I will
Yeah.
say this, I think that, and I read this somewhere that Frank Gorshin, the reason why there would be times he appears in like a three-piece Riddler
Yeah.
business
Every now and
suit, and because he didn't really like the tights. But honestly, that to me is a really good, like that's the way I prefer Riddler bowler hat, the business suit, and
Yeah,
marks and
he
all
has
that.
that kind of like
And that translated over to the animated series and to the comics, like in the future. So
Harry's version.
I thought it
He has
was.
that kind of look like, he goes to like a jazz, performance in Williamsburg, and he just like sits in the corner and smirks at you, and you're supposed to think he's interesting. That kind of, he has that look, that kind of, but then again, he'll do something dastardly. Like Snyder did it best with his Batman Year Zero one. Like that was the best interpretation of the Riddler that I've seen in a comic in a bit, because he just speaks like someone who is, you know, on a different level than you are, like a different kind of spectrum. Like almost like if you're with someone who's like, I know people who are autistic are very different, but when you get like someone who's like that kind of like really smart, I'm like, you are clearly, I have no idea like what you're like. That's what the Riddler. He's like, no one can understand what I'm trying to convey. And the only one that seems to challenge me is this guy who's dressed as a bat. The absurdity of it is, like that's like an interesting conundrum for him. And also with the Joker, with the way they try to do him, where he has an attraction to Batman. He's in love with Batman, not sexually or anything, but he's like, I can't exist without you.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. Then with Catwoman, and I what I think is cool about the show is that they didn't care about continuity. They were like, let's go with Julie Newmar, then it's Eartha Kitt. One's white and one's black. And they were like, we don't care.
Exactly.
She's Catwoman, yeah. So I was just like, wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
but this one is Lee Merriweather movie.
Yeah, this is Lee Merriweather in this one, yeah.
Because
Yep.
Newmar couldn't
Yeah.
participate in the movie for some.
He jumped on that one, yeah. And she played two roles, and she did a great job.
Mhm.
But Eartha, Julie, I love Julie, but Eartha's just kind of like, she just milked it. I like that, she's that vixen type. She reminds me of like people in my family. I'm like, oh yeah.
Mhm.
She's like, huh. Yeah. Now when she dresses as a cat, she has to like own the scenery.
I'll take
It's
off.
like, oh, what a perfect thing. That
Her,
I like too in this one how she does like cat-like stuff. Like there's a thing in the end when she's like at the submarine and she starts like hissing or purring, and like she looks over at one of the pirates, and the pirates kind of gives her like a look, like what the hell was that? And she's like,
yeah, she's like, yeah. And she was like seems like she was turning on. And she was like kicking. She was kicking those people with those
just
heels.
like hissing, yeah.
Nah, she got to do her big fights.
What does Batman say about American culture?
Ooh.
That it's cool to be rich. uh, if you really, I guess. All right, I'm gonna go first, and then I'll be quiet. Because sorry, whenever I talk with Jeff, I just wind up talking a lot. So I'm sorry if I've been going on too long. But I've always liked Batman is that he has that discipline. Like he just never gives up, and I like that he's like, anytime you reach your limit, just go one more further. Like, look at things in a particular different way. Like I admire him as just someone who I just really like his attitude, even though he's like a completely haunted person. Maybe that's attractive. Has like a kind of gothic romance. He's a tragic hero. He has everything that he needs. Like he's like this, he doesn't have to do what he's doing, but he just is kind of possessed by it, and he just has to do it. And he just can't help but just keep making things worse because he just keeps interacting with this insane city. He thrives on the insanity, and Gotham just always keeps giving it back. And a lot of it's his own fault. He just makes people go like, well, I can do that. So he's just an interesting character, but he's also like the smartest guy in the room, and he has no superpowers. Anytime you see him with the Justice League talking on the moon with them, like with Superman and Wonder Woman and Martian Manhunter and the Flash, all these people who can do like these amazing miracles of like just defying physics, and just they're like gods, and they're all scared of this guy, this weirdo in a bat outfit. because he's just smarter than them. And he knows, like, I'm thinking 20 steps ahead of you. Yeah. I always think that's interesting.
I'm coming at it more from the movie perspective, not the level of comic reader that you guys are, but
Batman to me, I think it is
about
about
the worlds in a sense. And I don't think you can. I mean, there are shows that try to do like Joker that try to do Batman without Batman in it, but I think
just the world of Gotham, the the world building. It's kind of like when when you go to Six
Flags and you go on the Batman ride and you're kind of
Yeah.
standing in line and you just see like a pole,
or even just kind of like a a cornerstone of a building, and you hear the music, and it just kind of brings you back to, I guess, the Burton film for me. Um, but it's just a great character.
he's an icon. He's kind of he's been around for generations. There's something that's always going to be cool about Batman, and I think he's timeless. But it's like this is a perfect example of what flavor of Batman
Do you like? Do you like Batman Light? Do you like Batman Dark? Are you somewhere in the middle? I don't know if this is my favorite interpretation of Batman, but it does make you appreciate him, and I think the character has been getting darker and darker. Even though I do like Matt Reeves, the Batman, and I'm excited for part 2, and I actually love the Penguin series on HBO Max. But
Yeah.
and that's all great building stuff. But this is a lot of fun, and it's
You can
it's
have
just familiar
you can
version
have like
of
3 generations over for Thanksgiving, and everyone's in a different room watching a
it.
Batman thing. The kids can
Exactly.
watch Brave and the Bold, like the teenagers and maybe like the younger adults, or maybe like people in their 30s, 40s. They got the Burtons, and they have the darker, like, Nolan ones. Then you can have the older generation who they probably want to watch the 60s version or something. Like,
Mhm.
everyone can watch, like, they can literally sit in a room and watch 3 completely different versions of the same exact character. It's neat.
Exactly.
It's kind of rare to have a character like that. Like,
What about
Spider-Man
you?
doesn't even really do that, because Spider-Man, you can't. They try to go dark with him, and you can't do that. Superman, like, people don't want to see dark Superman. Yeah, I mean, sorry. It's just throwing that out there. Yeah, generations.
But no, I I would say it's probably a mixture of both of your viewpoints, where it's like, well, to me, Batman is a guy who is mentally disturbed because of what happened to him when he was a kid. But instead of making the choice of harming others through, who don't deserve what he's not trying to inflict his pain upon innocent people who don't deserve it, just so that they can feel his pain. He's not trying to and do, self harm with, drugs or alcohol or those kind of bad decisions. Instead, he says, I don't want what happened to me to happen to anyone else. And even if he doesn't necessarily succeed, like with Dick Grayson's parents, that's why he takes him in. He's Robin. He's like, listen, I want you to be, he's like, I want to put you in this, get you some justice so that you don't turn out like me. And then he, with Jason Todd, the second Robin, he finds this kid on the street trying to steal the tires out the Batmobile. He's like, listen, I have to take this kid in so that he doesn't become somebody that I will eventually have to apprehend. And he builds himself up. He is a symbol of, like, physical perfection and, discipline, like Andre said. And he he really is, like, he's got a very noble streak despite his mental and emotional stuntedness, or his flaws. He's still the good guy. And yeah, there are certain aspects, like I said, with the martial arts and with the gadgets and the cars, and the fact that, yes, again, to Andre's point, with the Justice League, Batman will come up with contingency plans. And he even says in the Justice League Doom, in the animated movie Justice League Doom, my contingency, the one for me is you guys, the Justice League. And yeah, he's a very mistrustful person at first, but then when he lets them in, like, even though he doesn't say it, he really holds these people like Alfred is like a second father to him. He's got Barbara Gordon, who's Batgirl. She's like a niece to him. He actually
Yeah.
holds people close, despite the fact that he seems outwardly kind of like grumpy. Of course, Superman is one of his best friends, even though that kind of like a contentious kind of like a fun kind of back and forth. And there's sometimes that he views like I think it was in Superman, Batman, Public Enemies #1, where he says like his narration box. It was like in some ways Clark is more human, but he's like, but I'm not. And there's like there is kind of like a self
Yeah.
realization that Batman has, and it's like one of the things I also love is the reason why he won't kill, even though it's like, okay, well, you kill the Joker, he won't kill anymore. But there's this fear and a self-realization of Batman saying, if I keep crossing that line, if I do it once, I fear that I can't stop myself. So I'm not even going to start.
And he knows it. Like anytime he doesn't kill the Joker, he's like, could have just now there's all these bodies here because I didn't do anything. But if I do that, I can't cross that line. Another interesting thing about him is because you mentioned this with Dick Grayson and also with Jason Todd. And then later, like what I think is interesting is when they touch on it every now and then, when Batman or Bruce doesn't, he refuses to acknowledge that he has not done anything really good for them. Like Dick Grayson ends up leaving to become Nightwing because he can't stand him, and Jason Todd winds up dying because he did put a child in danger. Like he's like, but no one stops. Like he doesn't, and he's supposed to be the world's greatest detective. He outsmarts all of these brilliant psychologists and all that. He knows damn well his flaws, but he really, that obsession, like he doesn't think there's anything wrong with the fact that he is kind of asking. And I know that's maybe looking a little too deep into it. Obviously, they're just like, we're trying to sell books to teenagers, and a teenage boy running around with Batman. They're all going to want to be like, well, it must be cool to be Robin. But it's if you're looking at Batman from a psychological perspective, that's a clear choice that he has, where he's like, I won't acknowledge this, and also everyone involved is culpable. Like Alfred is culpable with this. Alfred could have been like, you got to call child services or something.
I want to thank you guys for your knowledge and your passion, especially all the information about the comics and the lineage of Batman and the history. I mean, I'll share just real quickly before we go, like his sense of justice, the inner darkness, the haunted nature of Batman, I think is probably why he was so appealing to me over the years. And his like no superpowers, but his parkour like athletic abilities, and the martial arts, like Nick mentioned. Um, the experience of seeing the films, like the Burton films and the Nolan films, with family members and friends. And I remember even seeing like the Dark Knight, Dark Knight Rises with my mother in like IMAX. Going to see that in IMAX with my mother was like an event.
Nice. Yeah, that was big when that came out. Yeah.
And like I guess you could trace it back like maybe to like Zorro and the Shadow is like maybe some of the inspiration for the character. Nevertheless, like he is fascinating as a character, and like his sense of right and wrong, and really going after the bad guys and like doing his own thing aside from like the police. Like he's like his own kind of unit, and trying to protect the public, and like you said, Andre, so that similar things won't happen to other people that happened to his own parents. And last but not least, the toys, the merchandise. I remember
Oh my
having
God,
some of
yeah.
the Batmobiles.
Everyone. I think
Toys.
everybody chatting right now, we all had like
Hell yeah.
ridiculous. I mean, yeah. I think we
McDonald's
can see
toys.
it. We can see it in the background of we can see it in the
Yeah, I gotta
background.
say, Nick, your Batcave background is quite impressive.
Yeah, no, I had to throw that up real quick. I had to change it from Vigo the Carpathian from Ghostbusters 2, but yeah, but no. I mean, The Batman Forever Batmobile, the Batman and Robin Batmobile, the Batcave, the transforming Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson, and the animated series version, and this version and that. Like, there's still, you know, all the toys. We definitely all had the toys. I'm sure
Oh, we
every
all
single
do.
one of us is dressed up like Batman for Halloween
Mm-hmm.
4 times for me, but that's because I'm obsessed. But yeah,
I almost had my Batman shirt on to do this shot, but
should
I
have
just
worn
thought
it.
it would be a little too far. Yeah.
My
But
Adam.
no, we all love Batman.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I want
Yeah.
to thank you guys. I appreciate your time today, and it was fun, really getting in deep with Batman.
I'm
It's,
glad to be here. Thanks for having me on, and peace.
you're welcome. Thanks,
Yeah, and
guys.
oh, hey, I just want to say thank you and shout out to my mother-in-law, Deanna, because we watched this movie together about a year ago, and she's a big fan of the Adam West version. So I said I'd give her a shout out.
Oh, well, look, Deanna. Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah,
Hope you guys hope she loved it when that shark exploded. You know,
loves
who
it.
doesn't love it? Who doesn't love that?
Have a
That's
good
what's up.
night.
Hey,
Until
have a good
next
night,
time.
everybody. Have a
See
good
ya.
one, guys.